Hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about power functions. This is going to be the first in a set of 3 videos about graphing power functions. The ones we're going to look at today are going to be exponents that are positive natural whole numbers. All right, and what we want to be able to do at the end of this class is to be able to graph power functions from a table, to describe all sorts of things about the graph, its domain, range, intercepts, increasing, decreasing, and constant intervals, its symmetry, its discontinuities, and its end behavior. And we want to be able to generalize our expectations for odd and even powers on those functions. So at the end of this lesson, we really want to be able to do the same kinds of things with these power functions as we can already do with our parent functions that we know for transformations, particularly for our quadratics, for our square roots, and for our absolute values. So what is a power function? Well, it's going to be any function that takes on this form, meaning some number times x to a power. All right, that's your general idea for a power function. They are always one term. If you add additional stuff on there, it becomes what we call a polynomial instead of a power function. And they are similar. We will explore those by the end of this unit, but they're a little bit more complex than these ones. All right, so various versions are the constant function, which is like y equals 2. Linear functions like y equals x. Quadratic functions, plain x squared. Cubic function, plain x cubed. Quartic functions, which is x to the 4th. Quintic is x to the 5th. You'll notice the quadratic and the quartic are very similarly shaped, right? The quadratic is a little bit wider than the quartic. That's the only difference. That's how they make their family. All right, same thing going with cubic and quintic. Similar shapes, but the quintic is skinnier than the cubic is. So what we want to notice is that if a function has an even number exponent, so for instance x squared or x to the 4th, they have what we call line symmetry, meaning you can fold them along the y-axis and they'll land on top of each other. All right, when we have an odd exponent, like a cubic or a quintic, those functions have what we call rotational symmetry, meaning we can spin them about the origin and they'll land on top of themselves. Since all of our graphs that have even number exponents are going to look very similar to these two, there'll be various U-shapes. They just get skinnier and skinnier as our exponent goes up. We're going to think about all of those even-powered functions the same. Same with the odd ones. Our odd-powered functions all have the same shape to them. They just get skinnier and skinnier as that exponent increases. So we know what shape they take on. All right, and we're going to kind of think about those as their own families. Now, when we talk about the end behavior, since all of our even-powered functions look basically like x squared, they're all going to look much like this first graph here. And so their end behavior says that as x moves to the left to negative infinity, the graph, f of x, moves up to positive infinity. And as x moves to the right to positive infinity, the graph also moves up to positive infinity. Again, since all of our even-powered functions look the same, if we were to multiply them by a negative out front, which we know would flip them over the x-axis, that's how we end up with graphs that look a lot like this. And their end behavior is that as we move to the left or to the right, we move down, like that. Now let's talk about our odd-powered power functions. When we have an odd number up in the exponent, it's going to look a lot like x cubed. They're going to make the same general shape. They just get skinnier and skinnier as your exponent increases. And so all of them will look vaguely like the x cubed graph, and they'll have the same end behavior. We can see as our x's go to the left, we're going down. So our graph moves to negative infinity. And as x moves to the right, f of x moves up to positive infinity. And then if we have an odd power with a negative coefficient, we'd be taking that same graph, flipping it upside down over the x-axis. And so our end behavior looks like this. So if we want to go through and graph one of these power functions, we want to think already about what we think this graph will look like. This is f of x equals 3 times x to the 6th. So a positive number out front, so it's not going to flip over the x-axis. And x to the 6th has an even power, so this looks something like an x squared graph. U-shaped parabola-ish, but definitely much more skinny. Because it's so skinny, we're only going to be able to get about 3 values in here. All right, so we'll just plot -1, 0, and 1. So we'll take those as our x values, plug them into the function, and come up with our y values through a table and plot those on our graph. So now that I have my values, -1, 3, 0, 0, and 1, 3, I take them, I plot them on my graph, and I draw the best skinny parabola that I can. All right, now we've graphed our function. We have to describe our function. This is something we already know how to do. Its domain, we can plug in any x we want from -infinity to positive infinity. There are not going to be any problems because power functions are very easy to work with. Any number can be raised to an exponent. Now on the range here, we see we don't have any graph down here at the bottom, right? So because there's no graph down here, our range is only going to be from 0 to infinity, and that does include 0. We have an x-intercept at 0, 0. We have a y-intercept at 0, 0, because here is where we touch both of the axes. We are increasing on the right half from 0 to infinity. We are decreasing on the left half from -infinity to 0. Notice for both of those that you want to make sure that you only use parentheses, right? Because at 0, 0, that's where we change from decreasing on one side to increasing on the other. It's not increasing or decreasing at that point, all right? It's changing. So you don't want to include that in either of the intervals. Now, when we talk about symmetry, we're saying, can you fold it or can you spin it so that it lands on top of itself? And in this case, yes, we can fold this across the y-axis. For discontinuities, we're looking for any holes, any gaps, any asymptotes, any weirdness in the graph. And we're lucky, we're not going to see any discontinuities when it comes to power functions like this, the ones with whole number exponents. And then we have to talk about its end behavior, just like we did on the last slide, which is that whether we are moving to the left or right, this graph goes up to positive infinity on both sides. So this is the idea of how we graph any power function. You're just going to make yourself a quick table, sketch a quick sketch of the graph, make sure it looks like what you think it's supposed to look like, and then we describe them. So here we have a slightly different graph. This graph, we notice, has an odd exponent, so I know it looks more like a cubic, meaning it goes in opposite directions. And I see I have a negative leading coefficient, which I know flips my graph over the x-axis. So I have an idea that this graph starts up here and ends up down there, right? But I'm going to make myself a little table just to make sure. And you always want to be careful when you're making that table when you're dealing with your negative numbers to a power, right? Anytime you do that, you have to do, for instance, -1 to the 5th first, which is negative, and then you multiply that by -2, you get +2 in the end. So that's why our graph comes out looking like this. All right. And so now that we have our graph, we can describe it. It has a domain and a range, both of which go from -infinity to infinity. because we don't have any sections where we wouldn't be able to get values on this graph. Our x-intercepts and y-intercepts are both still at the origin at 0, 0. This particular graph is never increasing. It is only decreasing. It does have symmetry, right? That symmetry is rotational about the origin. Again, because if I were to put my pencil right here, I could spin it around the origin and have it land on top of itself. It doesn't have any discontinuities because we aren't going to see any of those today. And our end behavior here, like we described at the beginning, when we go to the left, it goes up. When we go to the right, it goes down, which looks like this when we use the proper notation. And our very last graph, this one has a -1/2 in front, but that doesn't really make much difference on our graph overall. When I look at it, I see that I have an even exponent. That even exponent means that I'm expecting it to be mostly U-shaped, look basically like x squared, but a little bit skinnier. And this one happens to be a -1/2 out in front, so the negative is going to flip it to be upside down. And the 1/2 is going to make it a little bit shorter, so it's also going to fatten out a little bit, right? This one we might be able to get ourselves an extra 2 points on the graph, but probably not. I'm going to calculate them anyways. We'll see what happens. So we were able to fit values for -2 and 2 on our graph, which is going to make this a slightly more accurate graph. It's worth doing. We have points at 0, 0, 1 and -1, -1/2, and 2 and -2, -8, which makes our graph look like this. So this function, like all power functions, does have a domain from -infinity to infinity, but its range, because this is an even power function, doesn't cover half of the graph. So we want to make sure that when we talk about its range, we talk about how it only goes from -infinity up to and including 0. It has an x-intercept at 0, 0, also a y-intercept at 0, 0. It's increasing on the left-hand side from -infinity to 0, but not including that turning point. And then it starts to decrease from 0 up to infinity, again, not including the turning point, so we don't want to use brackets on those. It has some symmetry across the y-axis, just like all of the even power functions. It doesn't have any discontinuities, and in this case, it's heading down on both sides. So our end behavior says that as x moves to -infinity to the left, our graph moves down to -infinity, and as x moves to the right to +infinity, our graph moves down to -infinity. So hopefully, after this video lesson, you have figured out what your power functions should look like, how to graph them from a table. You're able to describe all of those various things about them, and you can kind of generalize what an odd or an even power function would look like. In the next few days, we're going to look at power functions that have negative exponents as well as those that have fractional exponents. And those are going to make things a little bit more complicated. But for today, we're just sticking with the positive exponents.